Welcome back, everybody. October begins to wind down. Pennywise is still with us, unfortunately. I'm not going to look at him because I don't like it, because he terrifies me. But we have a pair of R movies today, and actually for both of them, we're going to be leaving the U.S. For the first one, we're going to Japan. And in 1998, they made a movie based off of a 1991 novel by the author Koji Suzuki. And that novel was what brought us Ringu. And you can see up there, because they advertised it for the American audiences, the original movie that inspired The Ring, and that is quite true. Ringu came out in 1998, directed by Hideo Nakata, and it is the film that directly led to the making of The Ring in 2002, which later inspired some sequels and whatnot. Actually, Ringu did as well. It inspired a sequel in Japan called Raisin, which I do own, but I did not choose. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the story of The Ring, it's a haunted videotape. Kids, if you don't know what a videotape is, ask your parents. But a haunted videotape where if you watch it, you will die. I think it's within, 7 days? Because it's the film is of a young woman being murdered. So anybody who watches the tape dies in a week. And the cycle continues because inevitably somebody finds it, somebody watches it, they die, somebody finds it, somebody watches it, etc., etc., etc. So it continues to go. So much like the American version, which borrowed very heavily from this one, a reporter is investigating said tape, trying to figure out, is it real, who it is, what's the deal, and ultimately the tape just continues its horrifying cycle throughout. The Japanese version, very good. The American version wasn't too bad, actually, which sometimes is not the case for American adaptations of foreign films, but in this case, it was very good. So I would recommend watching, actually, both of them. If you haven't seen The Ring, check it out. Or if you want to go back to the Genesis, I would say go Ringu, because it's just that good. My cat's walking around being cat-like. So that is the first. So we're going to move Ringu off to the side. Oh, and by the way, if you do watch this, you don't die within a week. I have watched it several times, and I'm still technically alive. So for the next one, this is a bit weird, like back in the day of D, or B rather, with Brain Dead / Dead Alive, or it was D. In the country of origin, it was billed as one thing, marketed as something else in the United States. So from 1972, actually, in the UK, they made a movie called Deathline, which was put out in America as Raw Meat. Very, very, very creepy British film from the 70s. Stars two absolute legendary figures in cinema. The legendary Donald Pleasance, who people would know as, what would be his biggest role? Probably Blofeld from one of the Bond movies. I think it was You Only Live Twice, I think. He was also in The Great Escape. He was in, he was, I think, in the original Halloween with, directed by John Carpenter. He was also in Escape from New York as the president. But moving on from that, also in this movie is the also legendary and sadly also late, great Christopher Lee. Sir Christopher Lee, I should say. So the gist of this one, it's based on an urban legend that Victorian railway workers who were building the London Underground, there was a collapse. Again, this urban legend. I don't know if this actually happened. My British history with the London Underground is not great. But in 1892, there was a cave-in in which all the workers and their families and whatnot were thought to have perished. However, the urban legend, as is told later to Donald Pleasance, is that they survived and have been resorting to cannibalism and murder and all kinds of other unpleasant things to survive up until the 70s. So now people are beginning to go missing from the London Underground. And it eventually you will see that the police get involved because an OBE, for those unfamiliar with the British post-nominal letters, OBE is a Order of the British Empire. You get it for special awards at the Queen's ceremony every year. Anyway, an OBE goes missing, so now the police are involved, because normally, why would they bother? So they go looking, and ultimately they discover that the urban legend is true. There are cannibalistic mutants living in the side tunnels of the London Underground, and having resorted to very drastic measures to survive, the lone male and female left. The female perishes, the male goes insane, and now he's on the hunt for another female. Enter the college students because, again, you have to have college or teenagers. Police come in, shots fired, blood flies, bodies hit the floor. But is it really over? You watch the movie and you tell me. So that's my pair of foreign R movies, both very good. Ringu, very, very, very scary, I think. Raw Meat, scary and creepy. Pennywise, absolutely terrifying. So that does it for R. Join us tomorrow when we continue to plow our way forward to the end of October for the letter S. Thank you, everybody.